Wow, wow, wow. That's the life of Bill Russell summed up in about 30 seconds or less. My name is Eladeji Adebowale. I have the co-host with me today. I have Baruch Kukachi with me, and I have Olalale with me. We could not give you the normal dose this morning, but we are here now. Today is August the 1st, 2022, and we're serving the dose of a tribute to a legend, a world-renowned legend, and this guy was tagged as the best basketball player to ever live as of 1980. So this, before you see your own Michael Jordans, the LeBrons of this world, the Dwayne Wades, the Kobe Bryant, we had people that were tagged the best. I believe 12 All-Star championship, 7 straight back championship, back to back, unprecedented, and it has not been equaled ever since. Bill Russell, 18.9 points in every game, and he averaged about 20 rebounds in the entire of his career in the NBA across 13 seasons. But beyond that, and like Olawale said, beyond that, beyond the basketball world, beyond what he did on the court, this guy is a symbol for everybody that has a color. Whether you're an African American, you're an African, or you're a Caribbean, it is a representation. Like he said a couple of seconds ago, this is the same guy that decided not to play simply because his teammates were not served. Just goes to show you the kind of person Bill Russell was. Had the medal of freedom given to him by no other person than Barack Obama, and he actually got that with Merkel, the former vice chancellor, the chancellor of Germany. If we keep talking about Bill Russell, if I keep talking about him, I'm pretty sure the day will be spent, and Olawale and Kachi probably won't have anything to say. So I'll start with you, Kachi. The biggest representation in basketball world, if you ask me, and this is why I'll say that you're wearing a Celtic jersey. I'm pretty sure like 2 or 3 weeks ago we discussed about Celtics, and we're like Celtic going from what James LeBron said. He said Celtic is a city, or the fans are actually racist. And you see it when he said his coach was deemed a traitor because he played 5 black players in the starting lineup. Without being so biased, that was years and years ago, right? Things might have changed, but it just goes to show you that he did it where he was not supposed to do it. And Kachi, before you go further, I just want to tell you one thing: that in 1956, when Bill Russell was playing to win the Olympic Games for United States, he was just a second-round draft pick, and Celtic traded everything just to get Bill Russell, and people were not happy about it. Kachi, how much of significance, how much of representation is Bill Russell to the basketball world and to us as black when we talk about equity and equity?
Thank you very much, Debo. I don't think we can quantify it. I think Bill Russell, God rest his soul, was every bit the representation, not just a part of the representation. It meant everything to blacks and colored, not just in the world of sports, but generally in the emancipation of the black man in a segregated America of that time. Bill is famous for being side by side Martin Luther King during the famous walk on the Selma Bridge. This is someone who also came out to show physical, emotional, and moral support to Muhammad Ali when Cassius Clay then came out to say he would not be fighting in the Vietnam War. This was someone who, based on the way his fellow colored players had been treated in Kentucky, boycotted, staged a walkout, just to pass his message across. He has a famous quote where he said, "I am not a basketballer. I am a man, first of all, who plays basketball." And that was the amount of importance he felt every person, black, white, Hispanic, should give to him, and in extension, every colored person who played the sport. Bill transcended the game. He was a voice of reason. He led by example. He talked the talk. He walked the walk as well. And I think I wanted to say this, that the then owner of Celtics, trading all he could to get a second rounder in Bill Russell, further lends credence to what I was saying, that the owner himself was not racist. Let's put it that way. Let's not forget that in that era, whatever was the outcry that they got by signing Bill would have been the same outcry you would get in Mississippi, in Los Angeles, because it was a segregated America of that. So it was bound to elicit that much outcry. But he let his sport do the talking on the field, on the court, but outside the court as well. He let his life do the talking. He wasn't asking for peace and not preaching peace with his actions, with his deed. He never resorted to violence. I listened to a sports show this morning on Montreal radio, where one of the most famous black Canadian sports person said he decided to play basketball simply because of what he saw Bill Russell do. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the late Elgin Baylor, you can call them. All these guys were impacted simply because they saw a black man stand tall and excellent, let his skills work, but also let his mouth lead his life. The truth is, we will not be here right now preaching his elegance if indeed he did not live this type of life. I want to say I've been honored to have covered. I didn't watch, obviously, based by my age. You can tell I did not watch him play live. Neither did I even watch him as a kid. But I've seen his highlights. I've watched several documentaries, even before his demise. For someone to have 11 championships, I think, and I must say this, he's the greatest champion. I'm not saying the best player, that you can argue whichever way. I'm looking at you, Mike Jordan and LeBron. But he is the greatest champion ever, winning 9 championships as a player, winning 2 as a player coach, becoming in that same light the first ever African American head coach of any major sport in North America. Yeah. So all these accolades, you may want to limit it to sports, but Bill Russell transcended sports and was woven into the very fabric of Black American emancipation whenever you want to tell the American story. It's been an honor covering him.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Kachi. Olale, I'm going to come to you now. Kachi has said so much about Bill Russell. And we look at it, first head coach in any sport in the United States, that is grand, and that is like you talking about keeping it real and showing us how it is, that's like a big step towards emancipating us from the shackles of slavery, and this is real big. But you look at it, you see he started from the lower cadre, winning the NCAA championship twice just before he got into the NBA. You see him being the first head coach. You see him standing up for Muhammad Ali when Cassius Clay, as it was before he became Muhammad Ali, said he was not going to fight against the Vietnamese in a war that does not make any sense. Looking back at it, I'm pretty sure Bill was probably in his early 20s, maybe lesser than 20 as of then. But what he did, what he showed us, it's crazy and well beyond what we can think of right now, right? Olale, how much of impact as a person watching him, reading about him, and I have to be honest, I did not read about him until a couple of hours ago, and when I did, all I had was goosebumps. How much of impact do you think this guy has made on people like us, especially people in the diaspora that we don't even, we are in a no man's land. You know, how much of impact do you think Bill has impacted us? How much of impact do you think it is?
Yeah, thank you, Debo. One thing I always tell people is in today's world, especially if you live in the Western society, the easiest thing for you to do is to be an activist. That's the most easiest thing for you to do. But if you want to compare it to those areas where there is segregation, areas where you are not that free to say what you want to say, areas where you can't dream to be some certain things. Those were the eras, the Bill Russells, the Muhammad Ali, the Martin Luther King Jr. That was the era, difficult era to live, to survive as a human being. That was when they had to stand up and be counted, they, as in to be counted and to be known for something. So that alone says it all. And if you look at Bill Russell, for people like us who probably didn't watch him during his time, to know his impact or the significance or how important, how symbolic he is to the NBA society, the NBA world and society at large. Just look at the couple of championships in the last few years, probably in the last 10 years. By the time it gets to at least game 4, you will see Bill Russell I mean the NBA final. He's always present at the NBA games because he's always there to present the NBA championship alongside with the commissioner Adam Silver. Check it every year. He's always there. At that age, at its 8 years, or as in late 70s going to the 80s, making that that's especially you have to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast. At times, you think it's going to end in game 5. Sometimes it gets to game 6. Sometimes it's not end in game 6. It has to get to game 7, and he has to make sure at every point in time he's at the venue to present the award, to present the championship. For the NBA to hold somebody at that high esteem, that shows you the kind of impact he has had on the game. For somebody like him to even make it at that age, I'm sure some people will have lost motivation, especially for somebody that probably played in an era when there wasn't much of social media, even TV wasn't much of a big deal then. I think the first most NBA finals were watched hours after the games.
Yeah,
I think up to the 90s. I stand to be corrected. So it was in this era, and for somebody to have made it a duty, like, okay, I'll make this thing a yearly ritual. It shows two things. It shows his commitment to the game on one side, and it shows you how the NBA, or what do you call it, community, how much the respect they have for this man. And looking at his career as a whole, this is a man. Kachi said he won 11 championships. He didn't just win 11 championships. He won 11 championships in 13 years.
13 years.
13 years.
He averaged probably 19 points, not as much as with Chamberlain. But people would tell you that his career in terms of the basketball, from basketball point of view now, will be remembered for his rivalry with Chamberlain. And with Chamberlain, is one of the greatest scorer of the game. I think he scored 90-something points in one of these games.
100 points. He holds the record for 100 points.
But history will tell you that Bill Russell was one of, let me say, probably
the most
superstar. The most humble superstar. A superstar that feels more about the team rather than himself. He sacrificed scoring for defending. He averages over 20 points in rebound in his career. That's massive.
Yeah, 20 points. Yeah, it's massive.
So I think he has a career. He has a rebound over 21,000 rebounding. Wow. So an era whereby it could have concentrated on purely scoring. He deferred that to some other guys. He does the scoring too, but he didn't make that. What do you call it?
The focal point.
The focal point of his. It's a man that people said every year there is something new he added to his game. It's not just if you see Bill Russell playing like this year, you see another Bill Russell playing like this the following year. He won 11 championships in 13 years, compared to his rival who only won 2 championships So that shows you he understands the fact that it's a team sport. He understands the fact that it will actually impact his team beyond just scoring. It could make
Scoring.
the team better defensively. And he played in an era when Boston as a city was known to be a very highly racist society. Could you imagine somebody
Yeah.
that won 11 championship with you, and his house was boggled, and his rings, trophies were stolen,
We're still
and
in.
they left messages, a lot of racial slur messages on the wall for him,
Wow.
and he made it like, okay, if this is what it is, if him, who is a superstar, who
Who
won
face
championship for
this
this
kind of
city,
this thing? Yeah.
will be treated like this, what about the common black man in the society who probably is just probably living to survive on a daily basis?
Mhm.
How will you treat such person
Such
if you can
person.
treat me like this? And those were the things that inspired him to take civil cause personal, and to make sure, because Michael Jordan in his statement said, for every black basketballer today, if not for Bill Russell, you guys are nowhere.
Exactly.
So that sum
100%.
up his lifetime.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
to have lived
Perfect.
up
Thank you
to
very
8
much.
years, to have lived up to 8 years, the man
It's
would
a
have
big
lived
one.
a fulfilled life.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olale. Just so people know, the MVP award in the NBA was never won by Bill Russell, and that's because there was no MVP before him. It came into advent in 1969, and it was named after him just to show the impact he had on the game. And Kachi, while Olale was talking, something just came to my head, and for me, I don't know for anyone else, either of you two. But for me, I feel Kobe is the most hardworking basketballer I've ever seen or I've ever read about. I was watching something about Kobe, and Kobe trains out of 24 hours in a day. Kobe trains almost 14 to 16 hours. This is a guy that went on a summer camp and did not get one goal throughout the whole summer. And you know what that means? That's 3 months. And he came back to be one of the greatest. And I was watching Kobe talk about Bill today and how Bill shaped his life, how Bill shaped his career, how Bill gave him that mentality that no one can ever see. What would be your message to the young basketballer, especially when you see people that derailed basketball today? That's not the right word. They divide the basketball world today, and I'm talking about players like Ben Simmons that will come around and tell you they have back pain, they have mental issues. People that don't treat it the way it should be treated. Sometimes when you have stuff on the platter of gold, that's how you treat it. But what would be your message to these kind of players? Because Michael Jordan, Kobe learned watching this man. Even Magic Johnson and Hakeem Olajuwon, all the best that we've seen around, they learned watching him. What would be your message to the spoiled brats? That's the way I'm going to put it. The spoiled brat that we have today, people like Kyrie that too individualistic. Lale mentioned, he made a point, a rebound, 20 rebound. It shows sacrifice. It was not about the goals. It was not about scoring, be on the scorer chart. It's not about being like Abdul Karim, Abdul Jabbar. It's not about that. It's about a community that needs to be built, that needs to show that you don't have to be on the street shooting guns. You can do this thing in a better way and shine light to the world, shine the light to your community, shine the light to the young ones. And we see people like Ben Simmons and Kyrie, and young people will look up to them. I love Kyrie myself. I can't deny that. And young people will, I'm older than Kyrie anyways, but I love him. And people will look up to them. I'm like, okay, I want to be like Kyrie, but it's an egotistic individual. What would be your message, Kachi?
My message to guys in that category and the young ones even going forward is expand. Just as you focus more on the future, never forget your past. And don't let your past be judged by the last 5 years or 6 years. Uh, Most of what shapes our society now was built on the back of huge sacrifices by people, whether in sports or outside sports. So, the ability to enjoy the game now, to play it at such a high level and make generation changing monies of that was built on the back of people like Bill Russell or Alcindor, popularly called now Karim Abdul-Jabbar, who had to sacrifice not making this kind of money, but to pave the way and break the glass ceiling to allow this happen. A lot of times when people do or act the way they act now, it's mostly because they have forgotten their history. There's a popular saying, I'm not sure if your parents told you that, but my dad, God bless his soul, used to always say, our generation are always quick to say, let's go to war. Let us fight and separate from Nigeria or do this, simply because we did not experience war. And that is why you will see behavior from the likes of Kyrie, Ben Simmons, and not just them, but they are the face of this petulant, nonchalant behavior we are seeing now. They have not seen their livelihood taken from them. They were not there during the Emmett Till era when someone was wrongfully accused. They were not there during this young man that was beating blue black in the early 90s that was captured on TV, that led to the popular "why can't we get along" phrase that everyone uses now.
Yeah.
So because their memory is short, it triggers behavior such as that. So my message will be, learn your history. It will keep you grounded. Most of the facts, and I know this is not sports related, but you will realize, and I believe that's the same case in Toronto, that most of the African Americans or African generation blacks you see in Western world are probably one of the most humble, most hardworking set of people you will meet. Why? Because they never forget where they are coming from, what they have gone through to get an opportunity to live the life they are currently living. Why most blacks, second generation, third generation, fourth generation Canadians or Americans don't see things that way. So my message will be, go back, read more of your history, learn more of it, see the sacrifice people made to allow you enjoy the sport you're enjoying now, to allow you come out and spew rubbish from your mouth, and no one is hitting you a baton, no one is imprisoning you wrongfully, or sometimes hanging you. Exactly. Or saying that the word is not spherical. So that would be my message. And that lens, Olawale said it, and I just wanted to point it out that even up until his old age, he was Bill Russell was immensely sacrificial. That singular act of coming to every NBA Finals game from game 4 is not something that he's just doing in his old age. Exactly. It is just a replica of what he was doing when he had the energy. He sacrificed fame, sacrificed fortune, sacrificed popularity, sacrificed getting scoring titles. He never won a scoring title. Instead, he focused on the defensive side of the game. And I listened to Mike Wilbon this morning eulogizing him, and he made a statement. Mike Wilbon, for those who don't know, is a Hall of Fame basketball broadcaster who currently works with ESPN. He said he's been opportune to be in the room during the NBA Finals where the legends of the game, the Karim Abdul-Jabbar, David Robinson, Shaq, when they are in the room, these are people we look up to. But when those people enter a room with Bill Russell, they are in awe. That tells you how much influential it really was. So for this, our new guys, they should know that basketball life does not start with Michael Jordan. Instead, started way before Michael, to the Will Chamberlains, to the Bill Russell. That way they will be more grounded.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Olale, same question. Comparing the sport brand that we have today with the sacrifices that people like Bill made to the game, if you were in a room with Kyrie and Ben Simmons right now, I'm going to use those two because I feel like they are the biggest stars, and probably James Harden as well.
Dennis Schroeder rejecting 84 million.
Dennis is just a fool. Dennis is just a fool, actually, as a matter of fact. I won't blame Dennis so much. Probably it's from Congo and someone did voodoo on him. That's why he rejected that much money when they know he's talentless. Olale, what would you say to them?
Yeah. I think my message to them is very simple. It's not something too long or too complicated. Um, it's easier for them to display this attitude because a lot of people are falling in love with the sport. But the sport people fell in love with, it was the sacrifice of some people in the past. Just like in football, it's easier for you today. Footballers today or basketballers they make more money than those early guys. But
Yeah, 100%.
people fell in love with basketball because of the way those guys in the first generation in the 60s, 70s treated the game. They made people, unlike now that people already love the game, they just want to watch it. Even if Kyrie doesn't make sense to them, or if Ben Simmons doesn't make sense to them, they will still watch the game. But then people were not obliged to watch the game. In fact, people don't have access to really watch it. You have to be okay. Just let me point this out to you. At least you could relate to this. In the 90s, when we tried to watch football, when football was not available on DSTV, you have to love the game. Like, if I say love, it's not just, I think love is an understatement. You have to be crazy
obsessed
about the game.
A student.
You have to be a crazy person yourself to go to the leg as in to some length to watch the game. I remember when I was in secondary school in a boarding house. I can't count the number of times I sneaked out of the hostel to watch Nigeria, traveled kilometers, as in we're not talking about 5, 6, 8, 10 kilo, 10, 15, 20 kilometers just to find a way to watch Nigeria playing, to watch shooting stars in the CAF Champions League. That is what is love. Now, I don't think I can do that, but because of course, I don't need to move 3, 4, 5 meters before I have access to a viewing center to watch the game.
Yeah.
So, of course, you have more people watching the game now. That is because accessibility is quite easy. So that easy accessibility was as a result of some sacrifice some people have made in the past. What then Kyrie enjoy. For me, if I'm the same, I would just let them know that. I will smile and let them know that whatever action you guys are doing today, that you feel you can get away with it, just look back at those guys who probably made the game, who probably made the public love the game, who made the the rich people around the world to invest in the game, broadcasting, streaming rights, because those guys did it then. The Russels, the Will Chamberlain, coming down to the Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas. It was because of what those accumulation of what those guys have done, and those guys didn't earn much. Surprisingly, they didn't earn as much as these guys are earning now. So, but because of what they've done in the past, their legacy is what you guys are leveraging on. Because if you are if someone is going to introduce you to the game of basketball, probably from the early 2000 up to now, reference will be made to Magic Johnson, reference will be made to Michael Jordan, reference will be made to the Hakeem Olajuwons, to the Russels, the Shaq. So nobody will make reference to who you are watching now today, mostly. But people will go down the lane. They will go down the lane. How Michael Jordan won 6 titles. How for every final game, every final series he played in, he didn't lose a single one. How the Showtime Lakers changed the perception of the basketball game. How Larry Bird dominated the game in both teams. So this accumulation of what those guys have done is what has turned to the
A
money you guys are making today.
multi-billion dollar industry
Exactly.
that we have right now.
It is what they've done then that has turned to the money you guys are making today. So
All
for
right.
all your bad behavior, give thanks to what those guys have done in the past.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olale. Olale, just before I go to Kachi, two adjectives, two words. I know it's difficult. Just two words to define Bill. Just two words.
To define Bill,
Yeah, just two words.
uh, probably as father of the game.
Okay. Kachi,
Greatest champion.
greatest champion. All right, perfect. For me, I'll say activists, and I don't want to use the word legend. Legend is wrongfully used these days. Anybody can be a someone will even call Joel Big legend and equate.
Joel is not yet, Embiid is not yet a legend.
No, I said some people will actually call him a legend. I've seen posts where people equated Allen Iverson to CP3. Like, okay, fine. We can say whatever it is that we want.
Allen revolutionized the game, you have to admit. Allen made it cool to play basketball as you were, with the cornrows, with the headband, with the tattoos.
Exactly.
So he is a revolutionary like a Che Guevara.
Yeah.
You might call him it, but he would not be in my mouth.
I think Allen Iverson took the game to the streets.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. To the Baba. Exactly.
He's not your Allen is not your everyday
Isaiah Thomas.
I know the funniest thing about Ali is the fact that people keep saying, I love basketball because of Magic Johnson. I love basketball because of Michael Jordan. The first person I love as a basketballer was just Allen Iverson. Because I felt it was, he's not dead, sorry. He is.
I remember when I was in the university.
Yeah, he's an abnormal. For me, he's an abnormally short, fast. You know, it typically you see the basketballers big, they are very tall, blah blah blah, all this. But this guy is just at the second, I'm like, oh wow, I love this guy. I've watched basketball before him, but it made me love basketball more.
I remember when I was in the school, when I was in the university, there is this rich kid that went to a party with Allen Iverson trainers. And I think he was being disrespected. Somebody, it was not like, don't you see my trainers? Only Iverson. Only Iverson.
No, I think for most generations, like Olawale was alluding to, we weren't getting constant broadcasts of NBA games. And most times, most of the games we saw were replays of the finals. And unfortunately, Allen's team never made it. I think they probably only played in the finals once, if I remember. Losing
against Lakers,
against
2001.
Losing to the greatest Lakers team, they call it, the 2001 Lakers. So that limited his exposure to the current generation of basketball fans 100%. Who are not Americans. But 100%. To let you know how influential and smart Allen has always been, Allen signed a deal with Reebok that currently pays him $800,000 every year, and on his 50th birthday would pay him $50 million. This is someone who has hung up the boots, his basketball shoes for that long, but he signed. He is one of the people you should look up to when you want to sign a shoe deal, because he has stopped playing, but he's still winning in life simply because he was smart.
Wow. All right, perfect. And that's the show. That's the live broadcast for us. Honestly, funny enough, congratulations, guys. We have one person watching.
I think because it's work time here in North America, a lot of our fans and listeners will get to come to our YouTube channel and watch us. I wanted to give a special shout out. I know this is a basketball stuff, but the Bible says, mourn with those who mourn, celebrate with those who celebrate. We have mourned with the Russell family and the NBA community, but we want to finally celebrate something with the British, who have hyped the game of football for so long and suffered immense disappointment. Finally, after 50-something odd years, the English national team finally won something. So we celebrate with them.
Without any form of Ojoro Finally. So Olale, is it safe to say this is the first British win?
No. But I think for me,
I was just joking.
I think the biggest takeaway.
Olale Kachi. Okay, go ahead. Sorry,
The biggest takeaway from the from the British
Lionesses.
ladies, the fact that the head coach of that team is
Was not British.
a Dutch lady, and you could see if you watch the English team at the World Cup in France 2019, there you could see potentials.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Neville did a good job,
Yeah.
but somebody took them to another level. The Dutch understand the game. They are the master of total football. She installed something in that team that probably no English manager will have managed to do. So for that, unfortunately, I don't know. Probably they will do that with the men's team because for me, I think the English have wasted 2 good championships that they could have probably achieved a lot. This is an era where we don't have any exceptional senior team, and the English have a lot of talent. They have a lot of boys who are very comfortable on the ball. They have mixture of talent, but what they lack now is coaching. England does not have any business losing that Euro Championship to Italy. With all due respect.
Don't let's go back to that, otherwise we'll not leave here today. Guys, that's the show. Thank you very much. You can watch and rewatch this again. See our beautiful faces, see my camo cap and Kachi Celtic Celtic shirt, and of course Olale's attire, office attire as well.
That's what they call the armchair analyst dressing right there.
All right, perfect. Until we see us again on Thursday, when we have a fan banter and of course fans show analyzing their football club before the championship starts proper on Friday. I wonder why they always have Arsenal play the first game. Anyways, I'm not going to allow you guys.
They are the first name on the table when everybody's at 0 points.
All right, guys, have a very good one. Thank you very much.